It's back. By popular demand, Eddie Nestor and friends return for another hot season of hashtag no jokes.
It's a new day. It's a new day.
Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's a vegan, so there's never any beef. Put on the tune! Put on the tune! Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no jokes about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's a vegan, so there's never any beef. Talk about the world's choices with black voices. Giving platforms to the people till we're all treated as equal. They have special guests, they're never second best. Here to represent, giving golden knowledge, there's a treasure chest. Good vibes and real talk about the world we're in today. They have thought-provoking topics, always have something to say. Leave an impression in your brain, making this lockdown feel sane. Join three of the
28, I was very different to when I was at 14. So I went to my doctor and I said, I want a referral. And I think that's the big message I try to send, is that if you think something's wrong,
everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape.
By popular demand, Eddie Nestor and friends return for another hot season of hashtag no jokes.
Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no jokes about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's...
Yes, blood.
What's up, blood?
You good, blood?
I'm cool, blood.
You got blood?
What?
You got blood?
Enough blood.
You can spare blood?
Why blood?
The NHS blood.
Ah.
Yeah. Please give blood. Is that a picture? You got a picture of a palm tree in the house.
The difference is I'm in the Caribbean and you're on a small island.
Don't be a hater.
Midday, everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape.
It's back. By popular demand, Eddie Nestor and friends return for another hot season of hashtag no jokes.
New dawn, it's a new day, it's a new day.
Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no jokes about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's a vegan, so there's never any beef. Put on the tune! Put on the tune! Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no jokes about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's a vegan, so there's never any beef. Talk about the world's choices with black voices. Giving platforms to the people till we're all treated as equal. They have special guests, they're never second best. Here to represent, giving golden knowledge, there's a treasure chest. Good vibes and real talk about the world we're in today. They have thought-provoking topics, always have something to say. Leave an impression in your brain, making this lockdown feel sane. Join three of the best and get the most out of your day. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Eddie Nestor's no joke. Every Sunday midday, everyone's in ship shape.
By popular demand, Eddie Nestor and friends return for another hot season of hashtag no jokes.
Eddie Nestor, no joke, and there's no jokes about it. Best podcast on the air, and it's a shame to live without it. Curtis Walker, slick talker, auto-tune in every week. Boss lady, she's a vegan, so there's never any beef. Talk about the world's choices with black voices. Giving platforms to the people till we're all treated as equal. They have special guests.
Greetings and welcome to another hashtag no joke. Happy Easter to everybody. Hopefully you're having a fantastic. The sun is shining. We've been through all seasons this week, haven't we? Monday was, you could wear vests, and I even saw people in flip flops. I went out there to the bin last night, and it wasn't good at all. This is myself, Curtis, and boss lady Lisa Nestor, taking you through some of the events from a different perspective. Let's not waste any time. There's a lot to fit in this week. We've got some fabulous guests, and we need you to like, to share, to comment, to argue, to discuss, to reason, and hopefully from this we get a better, brighter, and more rounded view of what's going on in terms of news. Let's welcome the Dundada of British comedy. I got to see him a little bit last night. How are you, Daley Thompson?
Hallelujah. Jesus Christ has risen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Go.
Yes,
she's down
God
there now,
bless you.
mummy, singing
God bless
all.
you.
How great thou art.
Hallelujah. Bless you, my brother.
Yeah,
Happy
which is
Easter
good stuff.
blessings upon you.
Yes, yes.
You're
This
looking
most
very good.
religious of Christian festivals, and we are now twins.
Thanks for
we
the
are.
t-shirt. I noticed there's a couple X's on it, a little extra X's. I didn't know they made them this big. Thank you very much.
It's only two. As I said,
appreciate it.
allowing for your COVID, wait. Let's bring
growth.
let's
Lockdown
bring
growth,
the lady who's having a real heartbreak, really, because she's put on 2 pounds, which has made her have to transform her whole life. How are you, boss lady?
I'm fine. Happy Easter, Curtis. Looking
Happy
mighty
Easter,
fine.
my queen.
And happy
You are
Easter to
looking
everyone who's
exceptional.
listening. Oh,
Happy
so are you. I love the beards. There were about
Thank
4
you,
of you
man.
last week. I'm loving it.
I'm trying.
You are absolutely that, Curtis. You are absolutely that. Right, so we got. I mean, goodness gracious me, we talk about it every week, but there has been an awful lot of news this week. It goes so far back. Last Sunday, the papers were full of Boris Johnson and Jennifer. Then every day, is a different story.
It's so bad, Eddie. Look, I've got notes this week. I never do notes.
Well,
I've got mine too.
I met up with the exec producer, and we just went over the show and everything, and I just took notes of him. Yeah,
I think we're all going to have to be on our game today. It'll be interesting to find out if Lord Wooley has a sense of humor. He's going to need one today. So, look, I just 29th was the day that we got to the next stage of the lockdown. Now, some of you think it means that you're free. No, it meant that you could have people in your garden, the rule of 6 and all of that. But it did get people like the boss lady thinking about what will happen when she does get out there. Now, some people, Curtis, haven't worn shoes for a little while. I found this video, and this reminded me of what I think it's going to be like when the boss lady does put on.
The £2 I've put on have gone to my feet, so my shoes don't fit me anymore, Eddie. So I'll need new ones.
When's the last time you put on a pair of shoes?
Pre-lockdown, 2019, the Christmas ball, 2019.
Oh,
so you haven't worn heels?
I have not worn heels. I live in jogging bottoms, hoodies, and trainers. No heels.
It's gonna be messy. I'll have the camera on, Curtis. We can all have a good laugh. We can all have a good laugh. Okay, boss lady, listen.
Thank you.
All his life. So you've never taken off your heels, have you?
Let it go.
There you go. Go. Bye.
Boss lady will be reading your texts, your comments, and please keep them coming in. We'll have some fun later on. I dare say we're going to spend a good bit of time on a particular subject to do with race this week, but let's introduce our guest. First, it's her birthday today. And when I phoned her up to say, can you do it? She said, it's my birthday. And I went, yeah. What does that mean? That's not really no reason. Joanne Benjamin Lewis is an educator, a teacher of educators, formerly of Ofsted, formerly deputy head. And we're bringing some Brummy into the place. 2 points along and a packet of crisp, please. So we're bringing some Midlands because we're too London centric apparently, Curtis. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for doing this for us. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you all. And thanks for coming to my little party. Do you like my balloons in the background there?
Yeah. Lovely.
So,
good morning. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Joe,
Yes.
Beaver, and Nicole.
Are names that we need to know, because we know Sarah Everard's name, but many people didn't know Bieber and Nicole's names. And those two young ladies were murdered in quite similar circumstances. So I think last week when you were talking about this, I made sure that I put their names in the comments. So we need to, make sure that we show reverence to them and to their families.
Yeah, and thank you. I mean, I'm sad enough to go and watch it again and to read all 1,500 comments, and you and amongst others, people were making it. And I do appreciate that. And I thank you very much for reminding us of our responsibility to do that. I do, honestly. Now, when did you, Curtis, it's another one of those. I said to her, as my mum would say, you favor somebody. Because I'm looking at her picture and I think, I know this woman. But funnily enough, you came across my desk because we had a conversation about one of my favorite books. Tell Curtis and everybody listening, because it is, if I look on my bookshelf, one of the bookshelves, I will find it for you. It is literally one of my favorite books as a child.
Yeah, so we had a really interesting conversation about Of Mice and Men. And yes, so the previous caller to me had been a head teacher, and he was fine with Of Mice and Men being taught in his classrooms and the N-word being read out, and that there didn't need to be much work done around the context, around what life was like at the time. And my argument was that actually there's a time now where we can move Of Mice and Men to another part of the curriculum. It is not the only text that looks at race relations in America. It's not the only text that our young people should be studying. And we should also make sure that we understand the context of the world that we're living in now. So I've been part of a really big campaign to diversify the English literature curriculum. So we've been talking to exam boards and the Department for Education, because a young person can go through the whole of their school life not ever having read a book by a Black author.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, I got to say, when I read that book, and I've read it a lot of times, until you pointed out, the N-word wasn't a thing. But you imagine 14 and 15-year-olds sitting in a classroom in England reading out aloud, Curtis, and saying the N-word like that. It just doesn't work. So again, thank you for what you do.
How hard is it to change the curriculum? Because that debate has been ongoing for about the last 12 years in regards to changing the reading material of school. Mm-hmm. How difficult is that to do?
I think there's a real change. The English teachers, so we did research across the country. So at least 80% of the English teachers that we surveyed said that they wanted a change in the curriculum. And now what we're doing is supporting the senior leadership teams to make those decisions. And our writers are out there. I mean, they've always been out there writing, always been out there, but their books have not been recognised. So there is a huge change. And the younger teachers that are coming through are making sure that they include those texts in the curriculum.
Yeah, but it's really difficult. So Boss Lady can speak for herself, but I know because we went to Hampstead Outdoor Theatre to watch it, is that her favourite book as a child was To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, when you look at the whole story of Atticus Finch and the like, it is another one of those that I have come to despise. Like when you see Burning Illusion, it is that the narrative is told through the eyes of somebody else, and we're merely journeys along that story. So at a time, it would have been a book that would have made people feel comfortable, as opposed to telling it from a particular narrative. Listen, we're getting into the show, and I've got a guest. I've got a guest with a title. So, you're good if you get letters after your name, right? But man's got title before his name. You understand me? So, welcome. You've already shown that you're going to cause problems for me and Curtis. But we're ready for you because it's Easter Joanne, we can read Psalms. But this man here, the Baron of Woodford, just up the road from where I am, let's welcome to #NoJoke, Lord Simon Wooley. Thank you for doing this for me, Simon. One of those words of the 21st century. You are on mute.
I say I'm already.
There you go.
I'm already under fire. I haven't even spoken.
No. It's going to be like. So listen. Thank you very, very much for coming on to do this.
Good morning, Lord.
Good morning to you. Right.
Morning.
Lots.
Brothers and sisters.
Lots to talk about. But Boss Lady just flashed it up. We'll flash it up again now. What a week for you. Might I take this opportunity to offer you my congratulations. First black man to head up an Oxbridge college. Whoa, big things are going for you, Lord Wooley.
No, Eddie. Big things go on for us. Wherever I go, you go. Curtis goes, we go. And if we don't have that mindset, then we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. I mean,
I hope that's the mindset, brother. I hear the words. That's nice.
Well, yeah. It's the truth. It's the truth. You should see the 25-year backstory.
Right.
You know, I wake up in the morning thinking that I have the greatest job because I can encourage and I can inspire.
Operation Black Vote.
Operation Black Vote, to be what we can be, but also to point the finger at the establishment. I mean, this week has been bittersweet for me. You know, the first black man to head one of those Oxbridge colleges. I should be doing cartwheels, and we should be celebrating about how we're going to make a pathway for our kids to come to these colleges. Instead, we're dealing with a whole heap of nonsense that, frankly, I didn't think I'd be dealing with, talking to you in 2021 with the debate on whether or not structural racism still exists.
We're going to get to that. This moment, but this moment, let us just take a moment to introduce you and Joe, because as I said to you both, I don't normally do it, bring two new people on. So I want our audience to know the two of you. I want the audience to know what the two of you are doing. Have you phoned Valerie to ask her for guidance? Because Baroness Amos is the first person, black woman person. You're the first black man. Right. Have you phoned her? Have you had any communication with her?
I have. She contacted me and she said, "Brother Simon, congratulations. Call me anytime. We need to talk." I mean, that's the solidarity that is below the radar. But also Sonita Allen. She's at Jesus College at Cambridge. We're going to be neighbors. This sister was hand-holding me. She called me up and she said, "I know you're going for this. I'll put 2 hours aside for you, Simon, because I need you to get it. I need you to be there." No big fanfare, just the solidarity, the sisterly love that says this is not about me, this is about us, and we need to pull more people up. It's a great conversation to have.
It is, and I think that more and more people are doing it, if I'm honest. We talk about it as though it doesn't happen, but I think we all know, because we've all had conversations with each other, that it does, and we've got people have got more supportive of each other. In terms of that, last week we had former Inspector of the Met Police, Leroy Logan, and Leroy really said that he felt he had found a purpose. It's not that similar when I look at you. You know, here's a guy who's been working away Operation Black Vote. Here's a guy who's now ennobled, who's now going to be heading up one of the Oxbridge colleges. And you spent the whole of this week not talking about that, but talking about something that's bigger. Do you feel as though your moment has come?
No, I feel that there's a moment for us. I mean, someone said to me the other day, "Do you think Black Lives Matter got you this job?" And I said, "Well, of course, the Black Lives Matter movement got me the job, but it wasn't just that moment. It was the 25-year backstory that allowed the Black Lives Matter historic moment to showcase what we can do. We've always been there. The talent's always been there, but now people are recognizing it. And we wear it often with heavy shoulders because we know we cannot mess up. I could use another word. but it's Sunday. We cannot mess up. But our job is to bring people up. Our job is, Eddie, like you have a platform almost every day of the week, and you talk to people, you communicate, you take people on a journey. That's a blessed position. Curtis, you've been making people laugh. You know, when things get too serious, we need to laugh. We need to have some joy in our lives. And so we all have this role to play. I've been saying to anyone that will listen, this last year with COVID and Black Lives Matter, it's time for Black people to come out of the shadows, take those leadership roles, own it. For decades, for centuries, we've been told, get to the back of the queue, get a bit more training. Your time will come. Our time is now. But we have to look in the mirror and say, and stop this damn doubting. You know, we're always told, we always have these doubters. Let's not us be self-doubter. Let's be believers. And then when we are in these rooms and we talk from our heart, from our soul, from something special, good things happen. It's as simple as that.
You're of course right. Of course, there's no way that anybody could say that what you're saying there does not hold merit. But this term gaslit, where something you know, something you feel, and something you've experienced is being denied, is quite a thing. Right, so look, we're going to get started now. Welcome, Joe. Welcome to you, Simon. If you don't mind, can I call you Simon during this? Or are you or are you no, you meet him privately, Kurt. He's like, no, I will have 25 years for this. Call me Lord. In fact, call me my Lord.
That's it. That's right. Curtis, you can call me sir too.
I'll just add it, have mercy. I'll add the Lord and I'll say have mercy.
Lord. I'll buy that any day.
Okay,
Simon,
right.
Simon.
So it started, didn't it? I've never known a report like this. I've never known one to come out in the middle of the day. I've never known one to come out and be briefed to particular reporters. I've never known one when none of the architects of the report, none of them have debated anybody. None of them have debated. So I got to promise you, if I come out with something and I say this is what I think, I'm going to debate it with anybody because I truly believe it. None of the people in that report have debated it. I've tried since it came out to get Tony Sewell onto my drive time show on BBC Radio London. The message came back, he's stressed. Now, one of the things I want to say is that what I don't want on this platform, right, is I don't want personal attacks. I want us to do what we've got to do.
Sorry, brother, I hear you. But have you noticed a lot of them are distancing themselves from the report?
Well, some of them are saying they weren't on it.
They weren't contacted, but their name is attached to it, and they weren't discussed. And even those who did speak, everything they said, apparently, allegedly, this is for you, Eddie, I don't know what it means, allegedly, wasn't used. Their words were not used. And they are still being tarnished by it. Oh, sorry, Lord.
Right, so it started with this, didn't it, Simon? So it started, we've been wearing, or I have, started with this. This is what it started with.
Correct.
Whether or not that Black, Asian and minority ethnic term was one that we liked or we used. Before we get into the race report, because that was released the day before, Joe, so it was almost separate. Well, what's your feeling on BAME?
Yeah, well, look, what they try to do with this, which is extremely deceitful and cunning, and I've seen it done before because I'm old enough. What we do is that we'd go into a cul-de-sac and argue amongst ourselves about what we should and shouldn't use. Let them do it. Let them drive themselves crazy. They'll be fighting each other. Black and minority, no, we want this, we want that. And whilst we are in that cul-de-sac, fighting what acronym we can use, Rome's burning. They did the same thing with multiculturalism. Remember, another Black man said, it's complicated. And I know one organization spent a year debating multiculturalism. Meanwhile, nothing moved. So this was the trailer to herd us down a cul-de-sac. When I use the term, I don't like to be called BAME. it just sounds wrong. So, and say Black, Asian, and minority ethnic, and then drill down into those communities that are having it worst: Pakistani, Bangladeshi, many in the African communities. But I think, we're smart enough to use the big term, but then use the nuanced terms as and when we need it. What I refuse to do is to go into this dark space where we're arguing amongst ourselves and nothing's happening on the big picture. So that was their game plan.
That makes sense. Joe, what on specifically to BAME before we get to the commission and their findings?
The term BAME can be useful in some statistical senses. It's a big term, and you can use it to look at, as it says, Black and minority ethnic groups. But if you use it as a catch-all term to say that all of those groups have exactly the same sets of experiences, that within that demographic, everybody statistically has the same chances, that is not the case. So you have to be able to look at the nuances of each of those groups. People use the term lazily. They just throw it out there and say, oh, all of these people have and do exactly the same things. And that is just lazy, as I said. We now need to look at the experiences of the different groups.
Okay, so Curtis, before I go to you, I can see lots of messages coming in. I'm not sure if you're ready, boss lady, but could you give me, before I go into the review itself, because we're properly going to analyze this today, boss lady, can I ask you just to give me a flavor specifically to the word BAME that's coming in? Boss lady?
Hello. Good afternoon, Jay. Good afternoon, Lord Wooley.
Hi.
Respect
Simon,
to you too. Good afternoon, Simon. Lots of people are appreciating that you're on there. You're an inspiration to everybody. And Jay, many people wishing you happy birthday, Queen. I've just got a couple, Ed. Jacinth is saying it's just another label put on us. And Stella says, don't call me BAME. I'm a proud Black woman. But a lot of the comments are about the report that you're going to come and do. Many people are upset about Tony Sewell and wishing that you had him as a guest on your show today.
Me too. I mean, the thing is that thank you, boss lady.
Thank you.
I mean, I do too. I know Tony. I declare this. I've met Tony. And Tony's one of those people who we need, if I'm honest with you, because he doesn't recognize, he refuses to recognize oppression in the way that most of us do. He believes, like my father did, that Britain is one of those countries, if you apply yourself for 5 years, you can, and to quote my father, make yourself a man. And Tony was the architect of a charity called Generating Genius, and they took young Black boys with enormous potential and they pushed them to achieve their full potential. So while I understand that there is a lot of feeling out there, here is a doctor, a man who has done stuff for people. So he's not recognizing institutional racism, and he's stating that before he went into it, though, kind of. I don't think anybody was. We might be upset, or some people might be, but I don't think anybody was surprised. This was the best 2 minutes I could find to pull it all together, and then I'll tell you what some of the people are saying. We'll come to our guests, and then we'll get more feedback from the boss lady. So here's Sky laid the report out for us.
Now, while the report contains a few controversial conclusions, the data is actually a little bit more nuanced. Take this chart on educational attainment. The bars here show you how boys at school are doing with their grades versus the average. So you can see that the worst performing are Black Caribbean and white British, while the best performing are Indian and Bangladeshi boys. The report says actually those kinds of gaps are far smaller in the UK than in the US. And the bars here show you that grade gap at school between white and Black pupils. It's far bigger, you can see a bigger bar there, in the US than it is in the UK. How about when people leave leave schools and enter the workplace. This chart shows you pay gaps with white British workers. So you've got white Irish, Indian, Chinese tend on average to earn less. Bangladeshi, Pakistani groups are above the average. You can see, though, that it's skewed one way. Those bars are mostly going down rather than up. But the report says a lot of that is down to geographic and educational factors. And when you adjust for them, we've done that just here, it's a slightly different picture. You can see most ethnic groups are coming in with higher pay than the white British average. Those bars are mostly above that middle line. So all of that is painting an encouraging picture, says the Commission. But there's a deeper problem. Some of this data relies on small sample sizes. Some of it reflects companies' structures as much as their attitude to ethnicity. And experts warn that far from providing definitive answers, some of the data only raises further questions.
The fact is that, you know, we've got a public education system in this country, so of course some minorities are making progress, but a lot of that is down to, even by the government's admission, some mythological work ethics culture or minority aspiration. I don't really see anything in relation to government policies that have supported ethnic minorities.
Look at other data points in the report, and they're actually less nuanced. Consider those being confronted by the police. It's by far and away black people who get stopped and searched the most, more than any other ethnic group. Finally, you've got some question marks about data points not included in the report. For instance, this child poverty outcomes. Alongside those with Indian ethnicity, you can see white British people have the lowest percentage of child poverty. By far and away, the biggest is among some Bangladeshi and Pakistani families. In other words, you've clearly got some structural ethnic inequalities in the UK. The data's not telling a single story. For encouraging news.
So, as always with these, and I interviewed this gentleman myself this week, there are those who think the report actually was quite good. Take a listen to Calvin Robinson.
This perceived rather conception that every institution in this country is racist and that all racism is systemic in the UK. And that's kind of blinded us from looking at the real issues here. Like you said, this report has not been rhetoric. They've moved into evidence and they've looked at all of the disparities. And there are disparities in this country, but they're not necessarily racist just because they happen to have elements of race. So, for example, there are geographic problems, there are class problems, there are family structure problems that all add up to improve or disadvantage people's lives. And if we really want everyone to have the best possible chance in the UK, we have to look at every aspect of their life and all of the socio-economic factors that are playing into this situation, rather than just say, actually, it's all down to institutional racism, because it's not. There might be racism involved in the problem, but that's not the core of it, and that's not the underlying problem. And if we look at everything through these lenses of racial sensitivity, then we see racism everywhere, and it's not everywhere, and it's not institutionalized. And this report didn't find any evidence of institutionalized racism, but it did find lots of racism.
I think
so. That's Kevin. And finally, hold on. Finally, we got somebody, one of the report's authors who was on the paper, who was prepared to come out and say, here's her defense. This is quite interesting, actually. Take a listen to her defense of the report.
Are saying that we're denying racism. That's madness in today's society. The members of the Commission, most of us members of the Commission, have experienced racism, so it would be madness to deny it. We know that racism is present in the UK, but what we're trying to say is that we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So the idea that we're denying racism is insulting, definitely. I think many of us were inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. People took to the streets and said they wanted justice. What we were trying to do within the Commission is trying to get better justice for everybody, but through legislation and through policy. But that's not what's happening. People are talking and making sort of very negative statements and personal statements, but not talking about the issues. And to me, that's damaging to sort of the progress of racism in the country. I think many people haven't actually read the report or looked at the recommendations, but they're sort of latching on to popular discussion, which is misquoting us, and then sort of gets escalated. So that's what we're finding most painful.
I've never played that many videos, but I wanted all of us to have this conversation from a place where we at least knew a lot. And this idea that we haven't read the report, I think very few of us spend time reading 290 pages of reports. But the headline...
I started it yesterday.
Oh, good. So you will finish it by next week. But yes. Joe, I'm going to come to you, right? because a lot of this was predicated on education. The black boys, African boys, Caribbean boys. But the headline is what people are reacting to. Britain is not institutionally racist. Joe, let's go. You're first up.
I'm aghast, to be honest. No, actually, I take that back. I think most of us knew that there were going to be some issues with the report because we knew the people involved in writing it and we knew where their point of view lay. We knew already that Tony Sewell doesn't believe in institutional racism. So to have somebody as the architect of the report who already has that standpoint, and the members of the committee who were part of the report, are part of a right-wing think tank, many of them, they already have that as being their kind of mindset. I was part of one of the groups of people who did submit evidence to the report. So you remember last year they asked for educationalists, teachers, unions, trainee, all of those people to give evidence.
Business, which they ignored.
They ignored. And in fact, there's now been an open letter that has 390 signatories to it to denounce the report from leading educationalists. 390. So that just goes to show that at best, this is a collection of anecdotal stories. Actually, it is more like a work of fiction. And you know, I love talking about fiction, don't you, as an English literature teacher. We really can't take much from the reports. There are some interesting recommendations, some things that actually,
What's a good thing? What's something that you think?
I would say provisions around after-school clubs. So investing to make sure that when children leave school, after school, that there are some activities for them and that they're not congregating, on the streets. So yeah, that would be a perfectly good recommendation. Are they going to give any money though? Are they going to fund it?
Well, we don't even know if they're going to take on any of the recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, they forgot that bit. So there are some interesting bits to it. But like I say, it's a collection of anecdotal stories, which is missing really any nuanced understanding of our experience.
Yeah, and I mean, that is it for a lot of people, Simon, that the nuance of understanding that the children of immigrants have historically done well at school, because if you've left another country to come to this country, the one thing you understand is a way out of poverty is education. It was almost as though those people haven't really lived the same life as a lot of other people who I've spoken to. Your thoughts, Simon? You're on mute again, Simon.
For me, Eddie, you have to go back a year ago. That tumultuous start this time last year, when every day on our screens we saw black and brown faces dying in such heartbreaking, shocking disproportionality. I think the first 100 doctors that died, 97 were black and brown. And then we saw another range of people who were dying in shocking numbers. Security guards, cleaners, care workers, bus drivers, taxi drivers, disproportionately us. So it begged that fundamental question, why us? And there were some people like Tony Sewell that said it's in our DNA. We are somehow don't have strong immune system. So we deserve to die more. And the reality, of course, was not rocket science. If you were overly exposed to the disease because your work forced you to be in that place. For example, Eddie, if you were a care workers, it's about 60% of care workers are on low pay or 0-hour contracts, which means if they don't work, you can't pay the rent. You can't put food on the table. So they would get on buses, they would catch the disease, pass it to other people because they had no choice. This happened a year ago. And then you had George Floyd, young people, black and white, took to the streets. This double pandemic, this perfect storm, demanded action. And so the government said, we will give you a commission. So what we hoped for was out of this shockingness, out of this awfulness, that we would not just build back better, but build new better. Because this disease, Eddie, gave us the most unique opportunity to follow where the disease laid bare those structural inequalities and do something dramatic. And what did we get? What did we get? You know, I almost want to cry when I hear Joanne. And she, like many people, were heartbroken. Because Eddie, you think about this for a second. That report could have easily come out of the 1970s or 1980s, which at its get-go would start at one premise: deny. Deny. And then say, you know what? Why can't you be like the Asians? Why can't you be like this? You're okay, you're Christians. They're pitting one minority group against another. Oh, and to add insult to injury without prompt, with entering a debate in which nobody asked. The author says this: you know what? We need to write a new story about slavery. Because what we don't talk about, the benefits that we've now got because of slavery, African Britons. Are you kidding me? Eddie, what does that say?
Unfortunately, they're not kidding, are they? They're not kidding.
Curtis, what does that say? That says this: Curtis Walker, Eddie Nestor, Joanne Lewis, Simon Wooley should be grateful for this.
You're about to get that where you're going. So you better be ready, because you need to be grateful that you are now head of an Oxbridge College. You're about to get it. I'm telling you, you're about to get it.
Never mind about me. That we, with English-sounding names, the author tells us we should be grateful because our history has been erased.
But that's why he's the author. He was put there for a reason. We knew going into this, we knew exactly what was going to come out of this. You know, and listening to Joanne and talking about after things that were positive within the report about after school activities. I grew up in a time when we had youth centres. They were all closed down by the government. They were all closed. People were put out. And those were the best places for young people to find out who they were, to find their identity, whether it was football, table tennis, writing, acting. All of those facilities were available to me as a young man in after-school situations that all went missing. So
don't worry, Simon. He'll run out of breath in a minute, and you can jump in.
30 years later, to be told, "Oh, that
it's a nice thing.
The way forward." Really?
Yeah.
Curtis,
Tony, I know he's Eddie's friend, but I tell you what, man, these people just really get in you.
Ask yourself one question. Imagine this for a second, and I want all your listeners, all your viewers to think about this for a second. Imagine that the government sponsor a report into anti-Semitism.
That denied the Holocaust.
And then the author says, without prompt, that actually in this debate about anti-Semitism, there were good things about the Holocaust.
Yeah, imagine, and justifiably outrage would pursue. Why should we be treated any different, Eddie?
Because we have all these words that get put in front of racism. Accidental racism, casual racism, whatever. I just, every time I hear a new word get put in front of it, and all those serve to do is to minimize it. But the impact is, let me get some thoughts from the boss lady. It's really important. We've got I can see lots of comments coming in. Let's get some of them on. Boss lady, what do people say?
Eddie, Paul McFarlane says there are so many flaws in the methodology and analysis used to come to its conclusion. Rice says the report was a denunciation of Black Lives Matter. Nadine White says report was a PR tool for the Conservative Party to say, look how great Britain is. Stella says, go and tell his family who have lost sons to police racism. Fee says the report was created simply to uphold this country's stance on non-accountability, as this would lead down a road they do not want to go. And John Williams, concurring with Simon, the narrative will be of people of colour endorse the report. So what's the problem? And that's what a lot of people are saying, Eddie, that the image put out there is that it's black people that are saying these things. So how can people say it's not correct? And that's been the dangerous thing about it. We've got a lot of comments on Calvin Robinson, but I won't read them. The nicest one was that he's being compared to Candice Owen.
Okay, and he shouldn't be allowed to have an afro. Did that one come in again? Last time we had him on,
yeah,
said, how dare he have an afro?
Yes. But I'm just going to change the subject a little bit. Keep your comments coming in. Don't forget to like and hashtag and share, and just something where you can save a life. Watch this, please.
Yes, blood.
What's up, blood?
You good, blood?
I'm cool, blood.
You got blood?
What?
You got blood?
Enough blood.
You can spare blood?
Why blood?
The NHS blood.
Ah.
Yeah. Please give blood. Is that a picture? Have you got a picture of a palm tree in your house?
The difference is I'm in the Caribbean and you're on a small island.
Over here, ain't it? Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it is kind of doing our bit. Me and John Simmet, who I think Joe and certainly Curtis know incredibly well, one of the godfathers of black comedy, in my opinion. It is interesting when you do that, because you're doing your bit, right? And we were in meetings where we were the only people who weren't getting paid, and you're trying to do this thing because I believe in collective responsibility. I believe in trying to bring us all together to do better. Yet, how unfortunate that these same people have done it, and it perhaps hasn't gone down the same way. I want your thoughts on this, please.
Dear mums and dads,
grandparents, aunties,
uncles,
nephews,
nieces, we love you. COVID-19 has kept us apart for way too long.
We want to hug you. We want to celebrate with you. We want to worship with you.
But in order to do all that, we all need to take the COVID-19 jab. While other communities are rushing to get the vaccine and millions have already been vaccinated, some black people in our community are being more cautious.
You have legitimate worries and concerns, and we hear that.
But we're asking you to trust the facts about the vaccine from our own professors, scientists, and doctors involved in the vaccine's development.
And the thousands who volunteered to be part of vaccine trials, so that we know it's safe and works for people of all ethnicities.
Don't let their sacrifice be in vain.
Don't let coronavirus cost even more black lives. Because we matter.
We love you. We don't want you to get sick.
We don't want you to die. So please, hear us.
And when your turn comes, take the jab.
So we know all of those people. Lenny watches the pod. Adjua's been on here. David Harewood has been on here. Rose, the bishop, we know her incredibly well. Simon, let me start with you. Simon, you invited me to be part of a debate that you were chairing for Westminster Council, on which was a man I hope to get on this. And that's the next favour I'm going to ask you. An incredibly impressive human being called Kevin Fenton, Professor Kevin Fenton. And I felt in that debate that I needed to take the position of people. Yeah. And it was a hot debate. It was watched by hundreds of people. But I had a conversation with a mate of mine last night who said it is incredibly unfortunate that, however well-intentioned it may be, has got caught up in the whole race debate, because you want us to take it. These people are telling us to take it. The first thing you could have done is give them money for those poorer workers that you talked about, the cleaners, the shop workers, the whatever. They can't isolate, Simon, because if they don't go to work, they don't get paid. So they go out and they take a chance. Yes. And that is one of the main barriers to it, that you've got Shamima Baig and you've got Priti Patel talking about sending people to desert islands. You've got Brexit. You've got Bieber and Nicole. You've got all these things that are happening that say to me, I don't belong. I'm not as valued. And I just want to get your feeling, Simon, on that video.
Yeah, well, the biggest factor to hesitancy from our communities is lack of trust. Many people, and it'll be even worse now with this report, many Black, Asian, minority ethnic individuals, communities will be thinking, this government does not have my interest at heart. And so when they're asking me to take an injection that I know is not fully tested as in the normal manner, they're suspicious. They're doubly suspicious because they had 2 French doctors a year ago saying on the record, we need to test this vaccine first and foremost in Africa.
Yes, I saw that.
So there's an accumulative effect. And so when we're trying to save our brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles' lives because we're overly exposed and the only defense we have is an injection, we're pushing a boulder uphill. And so we get hit hard by the disease because we're overly exposed. We get hit hard by the lack of trust because we don't trust the government who we can see do not have our interest at heart. But Curtis, Joanna, and Eddie, we have to show that leadership role and speak and take our brothers and sisters on a journey to get protected. And
well, how? You're telling me to take a vaccine that doesn't mean that I won't get the illness. What,
I'm telling you.
Think about the logic of that.
I'm telling you, we have one of 2 choices. One, take our chance with this disease. You know how that works out. Or 2, have some protection. Some protection.
And that's the thing. Let me come to you, Joe, because Curtis and I, and that's the step that I can't make. I can say to you, I've taken it, and I took my mum to have her second vaccine, but I can't, as a human being, as of yet, take myself to where David Adjua and Adrian and Seleni and kudos to him for doing it, actually, because he's putting himself out there, and kudos to him for doing it. I can't quite bring myself to the stage to say, you must do it. The people who are nearest and dearest to me, some of them ain't doing it. So, Joe, your feelings on it?
Everybody's going to have to weigh up the situation that they're in. Some of us have really intense underlying health conditions, sickle cell anemia, diabetes, high blood pressure. You would previously had pneumonias, all of those sorts of things. So if you're one of those people in that category and you were to get COVID-19, then, your chances are not going to be as great as somebody who is really fit and healthy. So we all have to make up our own mind and really judge our own second set of circumstances. I think the problem with the video that I feel, and a lot of people have commented about this, is that they don't necessarily respect some of the people in it, or that they feel that the people in it are.
Who?
Let's say, for example, I saw people commenting about Lenny Henry, let's say.
Okay, so
they're not scientists or they're actors.
Fine.
So
And
there's
that's
a whole thing around who you choose to front particular campaigns and whether it speaks to the people that you really want to encourage. Yeah, so that's quite nuanced, but you have to think about that people are looking at them and thinking, oh, well, they're a nice bunch of thespians, they're actors.
Yeah, but they are. Listen, whether you like it or not, Sir Lenny Henry has raised hundreds of millions of pounds. He's raised hundreds of millions of pounds for people in this country, and he's raised hundreds of millions of pounds for people in Africa. And this is the thing, people like him and Jay-Z, they buy wiggle room with me. I may personally not agree with all the decisions they make, but anybody who can stand next to Lenny Henry and say that they have done as much, then you talk. So that he might not do it in the way that you want, or he might not do what you want. And Curtis and I, as performers, perhaps we have challenges, right? And that's a conversation we'll have with him and whatever. But in terms of as a person who is saying, I am a man, I am going to try to do this for my community, I'm going to try and raise money, there ain't nobody to equal him. So no, I will fight. I understand what they said. I personally will fight for him on that. Curtis, on the timing of the video juxtaposed with the commission. Does it get mixed up a bit, do you think?
I think it all gets mixed into one thing. I think what people, even the video to me, didn't hit at the people it's trying to attract, because their thing is about fear. Their thing is about, as the Lord said, honesty. It didn't talk about the honesty. It didn't talk about you as a family member. My mum, because I took my mum to have the vaccine. I was adamant that she had it. I've got family members who won't have the vaccine, who are adamant they're not going to take it. So you're in that position. But if you're doing a video that is going to attract us, if that one's aimed at a certain age range, I'm assuming it was aimed at the over 70s, the over 60s maybe, it probably was the right tone. But for anybody after that, the 30s going on, it needed a little bit more of an energy and a bit of a more honest narrative, rather than that kind of we're gonna help.
Okay, so you talk about young people, Curtis. This young man, I mean, we're all gonna have to make friends with him, because he's gonna be giving me a new work one day, because I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for him to bust, as we say where I come from. Here is his take on the race report.
Nice. Tim's going to be here shortly. Oh, loving the fro. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thought I'd try an afro. Oh, very Pimlico Academy. Morning, guys. Morning. Morning, my slime. Yeah. Sorry, I was off sick yesterday, but how's the race report going? Yeah, good. We've been having a bit of a brainstorm. A brainstorm. That is good. And we've decided to be more inclusive by renaming Big Ben Tall Tunde. April Fools! No, but seriously, we know there's a problem with diversity in British media. Word. So, we're turning Mr. Bean into Mr. Beanie Man. What? April Fools! Again. No, but we've done the report and we found that there is no evidence for institutional racism in Britain. April Fools! Yeah, that one is true. Yeah, that is. What?
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, I mean, it's right on the money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
It's right on the money. Look, we got to this term gaslighting. What can we do? Because I don't like moanings. I don't have to leave here with something that we can do. Let me start with you, Lord Wooley. Let's say that by and large, people have been disappointed by this, although not surprised. What is a thing that we all watching this or individualize? What can we do to try and take something positive from it?
Well, there's a couple of things that's happened with this report that it's done, and that is it's galvanized our communities together in outrage. And I've never seen so many people singing in one voice as they are, and this is from the radicals to the moderates, that Black Britain is outraged, is disgusted. I would like your viewers, your listeners, to sign our petition. The petition to Ed is denounce the divisive, deceitful and racist Dr. Tony Sewell report on race inequality. Let me say this, Eddie. If white people had produced this report, we'd say it's racist. We would say, how dare you publish a racist report? And so what I'm saying is that there are Black people fronting white racism. And this report needs to be consigned to the bin. And so you sign it, you tell your MPs, and you say, we cannot have this report in my name, whether it's the Tony Sewell report or the Boris Johnson report. It has to be consigned to the bin. Now, if we do nothing,
I think that's got to happen, because I've never seen so many WhatsApp messages come through on my phone with different people sending me the same thing you're talking about, the petition. So it's getting the traction.
Please,
it's got to happen.
Publicize
it's got to happen. Oh man, it's out there already, bro. It's out there already. Because you can always tell. I always judge things on how many WhatsApp messages I get from people who don't normally get involved, and that shows you there's some heat behind this and some outrage.
Downing Street has to feel the heat of Britain. Otherwise, it is a green light. Now, Doreen Lawrence is right. When you say there's no structural race inequality, those racists are emboldened.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing. There's no racism. And we will catch even more hellfire unless we stand up as one and say, these black people, it's not personal, they don't represent us. And they don't represent our lived experience.
But that is a really important thing. I'm getting stuff like this, and I just want us to be able to debate and whatever. Now, if anybody's seen Django, you know that, and boy, you think, whoa, people are properly going in. I want us to debate it. I want us to agree, disagree, reason. But at the personal attacks, I think all four of us agree. Please, let's deal with the report. Let's deal with the findings. Let's work together. Let's not do anybody else's bidding for them. Right, look, we stayed on this one subject. You know how many things I meant to talk to you lot about? Right, quick, it's 57, 58. Joe, right. As a kid, what program were you watching and what was your favorite? I asked you for this and you start looking at me like, oh, I'm not the same age as you. And I'm like, hey, I just let mine go grey. You know what I mean? I'm not colouring mine.
Oh, that's just, sort of just for effect then, is it? Okay, right. So, I'm going to show my age. So I liked programs like Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that's come under some scrutiny as well recently.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So that was an interesting one. Play School, when I was very small, because
Through the round window. I'd love to get her on it.
Yeah, so that was wonderful. And obviously people used to constantly ask me, are we related? Different Strokes. Different Strokes was another one, which was really, really
You talking about me?
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Different Strokes said, what are you talking about, Willis?
Yes, thank you. That's what
you was going for.
Oh, yes. Daily, stop. Right, let's see, because we got some people who are really old who listen and watch this. Simon,
the Jackson 5. When I was a kid,
cartoon.
It's a cartoon. There was the
Did
Jackson
they have a cartoon?
And the Osmonds on the other. And Osmonds was for white people. The Jacksons was for black people. So that was
Good luck in Cambridge.
But I didn't expect you to say it.
Good luck in Cambridge, sir. That's for black people, and that's for white people.
Is that how you're going to do your canteen out there?
Well, listen. You know the thing is this: when these moments come, we've got to show leadership. And imagine for a second, we say, I want to be a beacon. I want the college to be a beacon for black and white people that ordinarily don't have those chances. Not just for the posh boys, but for our boys and girls too, from every corner. And we say, look, we want you to excel. We want you to excel as human beings, as to develop. But when you're successful, to go back out into society and engage and work beyond your own self-enrichment.
Yeah, but just work on the little things first, I would say to you, Uncle Simon, because the little things are, this week, Joe was on my show again, talking about how many young women have reported. There's a website now where get more than 11,000 women, young women, talking about being the victims of harassment or sexual assault. And the aforementioned Pimlico Academy, where, let the people them have afros. Don't ban afros when you go to Oxbridge. Okay, son?
It's not an either or. We can do both. We want
them and
Lee Curtis. Sorry.
It's either or. We'll do both. Yeah. We'll ban them and we'll let them read.
There you go. And also, can I also give a plug to Starsky and Hutch? Now,
yellow capri. Yellow capri.
It was a red, wasn't it? A red capri with a white stripe.
With a white stripe.
Well, it wouldn't have been a capri. It would have been.
It would have white stripe. Pontiac.
The cardigan. Michael.
The cardigan.
The big cardigan.
Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear.
He was an informer. He was a snitch.
Huggy Bear.
Right, Joe. Quickly. Very quickly now, because we're over time. I'm not mucking about with you guys. We're on a tight schedule here. Pimlico School. right?
Yeah,
No afro, no afros. That head teacher's got some problems to deal with.
He has spoken. So he's written a letter and he's apologized. He's apologized for the wording of the change in the uniform policy. He has said that he is proud to have students who are politically involved, who are using their voice, who are wanting to protest.
So why only because the teachers stood up to him and said, "Hold on a minute, we're not down with what you're doing."
There's a
Mr.
huge
Smith,
letter with an apology.
Daniel Smith.
Wow. What does this say to you, Joe?
investigated.
You're trying to make it long, and we're coming to the end. I talked to the children, the young women, the sixth formers. They were brilliant. They took this thing down and burnt it, and this is what the papers went with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't want that flag outside their school, and they definitely didn't want this one. Now,
the head teachers apologized for that as well.
No, you can't apologize. This is Britain. How can you apologize for having the flag of the national country outside of school?
He knows that it represents more than just that. He knows that it represents more than just that.
And he knows exactly
what does it represent.
And
it represents Britain.
Not in this time. It represents Brexit means Brexit. And what are you lot doing here? That's what it represents right now. All right. And he knows that. And he's a very powerful man. All teachers are extremely powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. And he needed to be
and
addressed.
There was no consultation, and that was the problem. And
I want an investigation into him and his political leanings, and also Pimlico plumbers. I've got a little thing going on. Pimlico plumbers. Yeah? I want an investigation into that. No. Has Eddie, can I just ask the viewers and listeners, has anybody seen a black member of staff at Pimlico plumbers? Just my personal thing, let us know. Because I tell you, the band colouring and everything is very interesting. And I don't want to wait 5 years to hear how racist they were.
I was told, Curtis, there's no black school governor at that school.
All right, that's not an accident.
But it's an academy. Yeah, but it's an academy. It runs on different rules, doesn't it?
Yes, because you can have your political leanings and money, and you can open an academy. And you can teach the way you want to teach. But so proud of the teachers, as I always am. So proud of the teachers and you know how hard it is for teachers to stand up now. And those days are over where a teacher could stand up, because it's all about numbers. It's all about dotting the I and crossing. It's the passion they've shown. I'm so proud of them to stand up to the head and stand up to this political machine that is taking our children down a path that isn't about educating them. It's about being seen to be attempted to educate them.
I mean, this is a really challenging time. I think we all accept that we're in a moment, and I think working together, reasoning, talking to each other, and sometimes, as I say, you've got to not listen to hear, but to listen to understand. And a lot of the time, we listen thinking about what we're going to say in retaliation. I just quickly want to end. I normally try to end it with something upbeat, but I can't today. This week has been difficult for me for all sorts of reasons. But in my studio at the BBC, I've got Sky and I've got the BBC, obviously, because you want to know. Sky will usually be first, but the BBC will usually be right. And in terms of the image, I keep seeing a man die. Every news bulletin, I see a man, a white guy, with his knee on a man's head. And I don't know. I know maybe I'm going soft, and I do know as I get older, there are things that I can't take in the way that I used to take them. But I remember them doing the Grenfell thing and standing there with the tomb behind them and the smoke coming out of it, thinking, "Oh, that's a nice picture." Is it just me? Let me start with you, Kurt, on this one. Is it just me? It hurts me.
Eddie, you know this. I saw the video once, and I remember saying at the time, I wish I hadn't seen it, but I saw it, and I was only able to watch it once. But as you're saying, with the court case in America going on right now, and they're using it, the video over and over and over, and the sensationalized, or whatever word I'm looking for. But anyway, the sensationalism of the video is too much. You're not alone. It's just too much. Now we need to. We've seen the video. Now let's deal with the case. It's just,
but
it's the way the media works, and you're in that industry, so you kind of have to glorify.
I know that. It doesn't
keep the
mean
numbers
that it
up.
helps any less. Joe, I've got to say to you that this argument is not universally accepted. There are people who say it hurts for a reason, and it must be seen. It must be shown. What do you think, Joe?
Over and over and over again.
Like
Please. No, we don't need to see it over and over again. I'm like Curtis. I actually didn't even watch the full 8 and some minutes of that officer on George Floyd's neck. I could only stand it for a very, very short period of time. There is a constant kind of almost glamorization of our pain, as if our pain is just entertainment. We don't need to see these images over and over again. Because what that does to our psyche, we still have to function in the world. And having all of that pain and suffering replaying over and over again, how are we supposed to carry that? Thinking about what Lord Simon said about the pain we've already suffered last year. We all know so many people that have passed away.
Yeah.
So many people. So we're dealing with all of that, as well as trying to just do our everyday lives. And then we constantly see images of pain and suffering as if it's just some sort of entertainment. No, I don't think we don't need to see it constantly.
All right. Simon, would we see the image again and again if this was the image?
That's it. 100%. 100% we wouldn't. And for us, it's personal, because we know that any one of us, never mind about our middle classness, could be a whisker away from police violence. Look what happened. I forget her name. Is it Sharon Wallace? Not Sharon Wallace. The Olympian.
Yeah.
Olympian,
Bianca Williams.
Bianca Williams, middle class, nice car, 3-month-old baby, yanked out of their car with a whisker of having the screen smashed in their face for no other reason than the color of their skin. When we seen that image, our heart was broken. It is trauma. And we know that it could happen to us, our children, and that that's just the brutal end of white supremacy. That's the lethal end of white supremacy. But we also know there are gradients in education, in health, in housing, that are part of the same story. And when hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets, they said, this is the moment to change.
Yeah.
And we must seize it. Instead, Tony Sewell and the commission just kicked dirt in our face and said, what are you complaining about? You've never had it so good.
Yeah. And you should feel grateful and stop complaining, Simon. That was
stop complaining.
That was specifically to you. We give you a little title. We give you a proper job. Now stop. You become more troublesome. We might take it away from. And this has been a bad week for police as well. You got an officer who's now first officer I can ever remember, convicted of being in one of those far right parties. I don't think that's what did it for him though. Personally, I think it was those interesting images on his mobile phone. Listen, let me just say, you guys have been fantastic. I mean, I've got so many things that we didn't get to, but we're well over time. Joe, you've been watching. You've taken time out from your family and from your birthday to be here with us. On behalf of Boss Lady Simon and Curtis, want to wish you a happy 30th birthday. And
thank
you. We love, we admire, we respect, and we appreciate all that you do.
Joanne, the champagne is on its way. That's Eddie's
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
Pink
very
Lady
much.
and Baby Sham all together.
Oh God, you're showing your age now.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Joe. Look after yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure they spoil it.
Thank you.
God bless. Lord Wooley, gosh, we that Westminster debate was quite warm. I thought you hosted that brilliantly. I mean, I had so many. I had to work on tone after that. I had to work on tone after that debate. Listen, I want to. You probably got the right temperament to do this job because you're going to need it. There are going to be lots of people looking to you. You're right. The failure level is different, but you know, I come from a place called Kingsmead Estate, which is in a place called Homerton, and people down there thought you're the head of Homerton College. That means that you're
it's the
big,
same history. The history. The school comes from the East End. It has its roots in the East End.
Oh, look at that!
It did come to Cambridge. But let me just say this: I want you both to come, Curtis, Eddie,
I'm coming,
and Lisa too, because if I'm there, you're there. If I'm there, you're there. And we will bring black and brown and white people that ordinarily don't see these buildings, and we will own them. I take people every day to the House of Lords. My house is your house, Eddie. And now I have a new house in October in Cambridge. And I think that's what we have to do as leaders.
And listen, you've done it by coming on here. There are lots and lots of people I've asked who haven't answered the phone. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Lord Simon Wooley. The best of luck. God bless you.
Thank you, Lord Wooley, man. Respect.
Thank you.
Respect, Lord Wooley.
Boss lady.
I actually met him about 20 years ago in Z-Bar in Brixton. But I didn't want to go into that. But yeah, nice guy.
I know. let's keep that off the grid, Curtis. You know what is the matter with you?
Lord Wooley, man, love that.
Was he with He would have been with Lee, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Good old days.
Yes,
Black
the
Bob.
old days. Yes. Right, boss lady. What did people tell you in terms of school things they watched when they were younger and stuff like that?
I've got loads. Jack and Nori, I'm going to just go through them really quickly. Jack and Nori, Play School, Grange Hill. Some of them I haven't. Mary Mungo, Different Strokes, Andy Pandy, Top Cat, Lassie, The Professionals, Soap, Brookside, Highway to Heaven, Crossroads, Columbia, Brookside, Dynasty, Dallas.
Columbia?
Oh, Colombo.
Sorry, I'm just reading very quickly. Colombo, Sons and Daughters, The Brady Bunch, Miami Vice, Prisoner Cell Block H, Rainbow, Prisoner Cell Block H.
You used to sell me Rizla. Yes, I remember that one. Yes.
Charlie's Angels, Love Boat, Fresh Prince, which our little one has just watched every single episode of and was really upset when it finished.
That was my childhood, Fresh Prince.
Yeah. Sullivan's, Thunderbird, Stingray, No Problem, The Crosby Show, and I've left my last two till last, Knight Rider and A Different World.
Kit. Yes.
Kit.
Right, we're finished. We're finished. Next week we're going to do bands.
Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
You know,
and Jada Pinkett Smith.
And Jada, but Lisa
isn't Lisa now with Aquaman? Lisa's with Aquaman now, isn't
yes,
it?
yes, yes. I followed her career.
Lucky her.
Lucky him.
You're all kinds of wrong. Ain't my body just like anyway? Look, next week we'll be doing bands and groups that we like.
Eddie's trying to pitch yourself as Aquaman.
There you go.
You could be tadpole man.
Hey. Badman's got it. I'm up for the next series of Bridgerton because this brother's gone.
Now you're talking, Eddie. You and him could be twins.
He's gone.
How can he be gone, Eddie? I mean, come on.
He's gone.
Who's replacing him?
Don't you hear?
Go on, Eddie.
Okay.
Has he gone for real, Eddie? He's left the show.
He's not in the second series. We're still looking for this young man.
Yeah.
We're still looking for him. Please, you know what I mean? On Friday night, you can catch me with Daddy Ernie and Robbo Ranks. We're doing this thing called Make a Difference. And look who came up. Lethan Lacarette, the lockdown king, who's been recommended by his local borough in Ealing. I tell you what, I nearly barred last night. This probably says that my racial compass is not good, and I apologize for it. When they talked about the woman who died after being attacked by the dogs, you know, I
That's
I
very
don't
sad.
know why. I don't know why. I just
because it could be your grandmother. It could be your mother, Eddie.
Yeah, sure. This is what's coming. I'm expecting some big announcements tomorrow. It might be, we're talking about where you can get into, Curtis, where you can't. We're praying, Curtis. We're praying for DMX.
Oh boy, heard about him last night, Eddie. Boy,
he's been taken off life support, but he's still in a critical condition.
Because when you read a vegetative state, that's hard to read, man. Because that's serious. Love a bit of DMX, man.
And finally, look, I think he was born on April 1st, died on April 4th, if my memory serves me right. But this would have been absolutely right for the podcast that we did today, wouldn't it? This album, when it came out, was just revolutionary. It took him board all sorts of things that were going on. So greetings to...
It was like that journey when a boy became a man. The album was definitely him becoming a man and becoming his own voice after the Motown situation. Brilliant.
What's going on with the studying? Because I'm doing my best, and I can't help you any more than I'm helping because I'm growing to dislike my own children.
Well, it's hard. I'm studying anatomy and physiology and nutrition. I'm going to start my personal training next week. But I'm just going to show you something that I put on my Instagram page, so you lot can follow me.
We're finished. The show's finished.
No.
Eddie, come on,
Hold on.
I want to see it, Lee.
Follow me for tips, ideas, immune boosting recipes, vegan recipes, fitness videos. Here is one. I give this to you.
Run the truck.
So, Curtis, what we do, we juice the ginger, the turmeric, put it in ice cubes. When you get up in the morning, if you want some ginger tea or you're feeling a bit rough, it's easy. You just go into the freezer, take it out.
Into orange juice.
No, I put it in my cup and then I poured hot water on it. So it's ginger turmeric tea. So you get those. You get those recipes on Lisa.Nestor. Sorry, Eddie.
Yeah, what's it called again? What's the Instagram?
Lisa.Nestor.
Okay, let me write that down. Thank you.
One about your business.
LISA.
Just before you go, nobody said my favorite, Rainbow. Nobody
did.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, if you just listen.
I've got Rainbow. Let me put the clip up, Ed.
Okay.
We could hear you all banging away. Banging can be fun.
Yes, and I was banging away all last night with Rod and Roger.
Yes, but it broke my plucking instrument. Oh, well, never mind, Roger. Look, we're all going to sing the plucking song. So come on, everybody, get your instruments out. Do you want to blow my pipe while I'm twanging away?
Oh, no, Rod. I was blowing a lot with Roger last night. But would you like to play my maracas?
No, let's just pluck away with our twangers.
Did they really say that on Rainbow?
Oh, the eyes of innocence. Yeah. When you were innocent, that didn't mean nothing but plucking and having fun with instruments.
Yeah, well.
Now you're old, hardback man. Now you're looking at it for what it was.
You can understand it more.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with our MPs, why they can't see racism, because they're immune to it, and it'll take centuries before they'll see it for what it actually is. Institutionalized racism.
If you don't see it, you don't have to deal with it. Boss lady, thanks for reading those messages. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody that sent them in, and sorry we didn't get around to reading more. Enjoy the rest of the Easter. Bye-bye. Enjoy the sun. Thank you, Curtis.
Jesus has risen. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Amen.
Please don't do that. If people take you for mocking it, please don't do that.
That's how I was woken up this morning. The sounds of Mum doing her service upstairs. Lovely.
Are you fed up of eating fish yet?
No, I'm loving it. Salmon, little snapper. I think it's monk. I never had the monkfish. You ever had monkfish?
I don't. I just eat whatever's on the plate.
No, I went to the Brixton Market, and they got great fishmongers up there. So you kind of trying to get away the snapper is what we always have. So I tried to mix it up a bit. Some salmon and some monkfish.
Yeah, we'll keep
My family will hate it because it ain't snapper and it's not fried.
Well, we're going to talk about your cooking abilities next week, actually.
Thank you.
Because I know that they are fantastic. Curtis, another brilliant one. Difficult week.
Yes, sir. Well done.
But well done to you. Thank you very much. Yeah. God bless you.
And big shout out to Mr. Robbie, producer, exec. Love it, bro.
Super executive producer Robbie G. All right then. God bless you, bro. Look after yourself. Yes. All right then.
Still here,
thank you very much. I know, because you do things for Boss Lady, apparently. You're nice to her. You ask her about her Instagram. Every time we get off, why aren't you nice like Curtis? Why can't you be more like Curtis? I won't tell you what my response is. Listen, thank you. We're doing our best, as I say, to try and get people on who may have something to say, to have ideas and opinions that challenge, that inform. If there are things that you want us to talk about, ideas that you have, then please let us know. We're still interested in anybody who might be vaguely interested in coming forward, helping us to do other things by sponsorship. Please continue to support. I'm going to put the GoFundMe page and also the place that you can get the t-shirts. Although, should we do these t-shirts? I don't know. Look, here you go. Should we do them? Should we do them? What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. So thank you. Have yourself a brilliant Easter. Fridays, the fixture list with Daddy Ernie. You can catch it on his page. And Monday, I'm going to be playing some music with Countryman and Shoe Doctor. You can see that on my page also. Have yourself a brilliant holiday. Take care. And until next time, #NoJoke.